Hello, I'm Fletch, Creative Strategist. This is a video to show how to present the Adecco holodeck. This holodeck is a true custom holodeck, so it's built specifically for Adecco, but it doesn't mean that we couldn't repurpose it for other recruitment companies. This is a presentation version. It doesn't contain the talk track on the screen. The reason why that's good is when I'm presenting, the audience isn't listening and reading. They're focusing on me and the visuals are supporting. And it also allows me to change pace if necessary. The talk track version, or as we call it the leave behind version, is powerful too. By leaving that in the company, we've seen fantastic things happen where holodecks get into other departments, open up other opportunities. So consider that as well. This holodeck is a visionary holodeck, right? It's important before presenting this to really make the case that this isn't built off deep insight. It's a snapshot view of what's happening and what's potentially going to happen in the future. And it's designed really to open up conversation. And that's the best thing that can happen. We want people to engage and challenge it and say what's right and wrong. That's fantastic dialogue. Okay, I'm going to go into presentation mode. Hope you'll enjoy. This presentation is all about intelligent engagement. It's about the relationship between candidate, client, and employee reimagined. Let's first start with a company called 123 Recruitment. Meet Keith here, 32, truck driver, frustrated. Culture at his company is not going well. Managers started to blame him on a couple of things. He just doesn't have the confidence anymore. So he turns to 123 Recruitment and has been getting these daily job emails for a number of weeks now. And he's finding it really frustrating. They're hard to figure out what's appropriate to him. They're just not relevant. And he thinks to himself there must be a better way. So he reaches out to his Twitter fan base. His friend Keith chimes in and says, "Hey, I've been using this company called Adecco. You should check them out." In the moment, Adecco actually join the conversation and provide a link. And Keith thinks, wow, that's amazing. He clicks through to the link and it takes him through to a community page. It talks about this candidate-first approach, a new age of recruitment. And this is really what he's looking for. It's very relevant. Clicks through and reads that article. He so enjoys, he actually clicks through to their website, does a basic search, and sees jobs that are very relevant for him. So all of this search data we're anonymously collecting, and he so loves a particular job that he even signs up. So we're able to capture his details in the moment, and all of the previous browsing history is captured and credited to his email address also. Let's jump over to the Adecco side and look at how they've just acquired Keith. So Mary, she's responsible for the marketing side and building campaigns, and she's listening to the conversations that are going on in the industry. And through that valuable insight, she's surfacing up the kind of trends and things she's hearing to her team. The team can see, there really is this distance between where Adecco are and other teams are, and people are complaining. And they realise they can really capitalise on their future-thinking, candidate-first approach. So they decide to build a campaign around that and support it on lots of channels like social, web, blog, etc. And add, paid advertising to support it as well. Let me introduce XPO Logistics, a trucking company. They've actually been working with Adecco for a number of years now, and they're looking for a new truck driver, but specifically someone with radioactive waste experience. Meet Rob. He's in talent management at XPO Logistics, and it's his job to find those candidates and take that individual that's selected all the way through, even onto an onboarding journey. Here he is using Adecco's search and match system, searching for truck drivers, returning 322 possibles. Now he further refines that, knowing that he needs that radioactive, and unfortunately there aren't any in the system. Two things happen. One, that search is triggered and is sent a notification to his account manager over at Adecco. But also, a next best action is suggested to him to create a survey. He thinks that's a great idea, clicks on it, and builds a very simple survey asking a number of questions and sends that to the 322 recipients that are truck drivers. Susan is one of them. She's temping with Adecco currently, and she loves her job, but it's coming to an end. And she loves Adecco. She really loves building her profile. So all the interactions from filling in her timesheet gets her points. But in the moment, she gets a notification to say, hey, there's this new survey. If you complete, you'll get 10 more points. She goes ahead and does that. Very easy for her to do in the moment. A series of simple questions answered in a Tinder style. She completes that and is awarded her 10 additional points. Let's go back to Rob, who in the moment, live, can review those results. You can see how many are in progress, how many completed, how many passed. And this is great. It's able for him to go from those 322 people to start understanding who might be right for this job. So let's go back to that notion of Jane. Here she is. She works at Adecco. She's aligned to XPO, works with Rob, and that truck driver radioactive search notification now appears on her phone. It's saying, hey, Rob is having some trouble finding toxic waste drivers. So she is able to support that. So she goes and does a search, but she's got added functionality. She can actually search not looking candidates. So these are candidates that have been placed by Adecco into full-time positions, but they want to protect. They know they're happy and they don't want to bombard them with job opportunities. So she's able to do this additional filter. She filters on people who've been there for 3 years, and it returns 9 people. One of which is Daniel here. Daniel is obviously full-time with Adecco. He's loving his job and is very, very happy. So he doesn't tend to get communications from Adecco. He'll get normal newsletters and stuff, but not job-specific communications. But this is different. And he gets a pop-up inside the app to say, we've got something that could be really interesting to you. He does click, but doesn't follow through at this point. The next day, he receives another communication. This time it's an advert within his Facebook feed. Again, clicks again, he's seeing multiple opportunities to learn about this, and he's starting to get intrigued. A few days later on the journey, an email is triggered. And again, he's interested, he clicks through, he's like, oh yeah, this is the same job opportunity, very interesting. Now I want to introduce this talent portal. This has been built by Adecco. It's a sort of white label, rebrandable platform to manage the candidate's experience. And this is what Rob is using to track all of those individuals and understand what their pass score is and just take them down the journey. Here's Rob selecting those candidates inside the app. And he's even able to generate private communities for each individual candidate. So here we can see him setting up Susan in this community. They can have one-to-one conversations, upload relevant files, even have video chats, which we see him doing now. He's actually interviewing her for the position. And he would do this for, any number of possible candidates. But Rob is disappointed. He's just not getting the candidate with the experience that he needs. Now, on that journey that we've been taking Daniel through, we've seen that he's positively interacted to lots of communications, but we need to nudge him over the edge. So we say, hey, Jane, Daniel really has expressed interest in this. Why don't you give him a call? So she does, has a chat with Daniel, talks it through in general, but they actually live in the same town and suggests that he comes into the branch to have a deeper conversation. So Dan arrives, sits down with Jane, and Jane talks through this opportunity and is really able to convince him to consider this. She says, hey, I'm going to let Rob know and he will contact you. So Rob is able to set up that private chat room with Dan, able to have that video conversation, and look, things go really well. And Dan is even offered the job. He gets that email and he's really excited. But in the back of his mind, he's actually been looking at another company, RCG Logistics. So he's a bit torn and he's having conversations with both companies. And that's the next day when Rob receives a telephone call from Daniel to say, hey, I am considering this role, but to be honest, I've been offered some more money by this other company. I'm not sure what to do. And in the moment, Rob can dive into that employee portal and dig up some knowledge to really, in the moment, understand how best to deal with this counter offer situation. Dan does get the job, and he's finished his first job, and this is where it doesn't stop. The same portal is able to support him on his onboarding journey, even down to, how did your first day go? But it doesn't stop there. It's lots of communications across the first few months, emails and push notifications. He even sponsored ads, just everything can do to help support him throughout that journey. It's the weekend, and Daniel's working on the car, and unfortunately he really puts his back out. He struggles down to the osteopathy clinic and gets his back sorted out, but the specialist there says, Daniel, I'm sorry, you really need to rest up. You really can't work for the next couple of weeks. He's got a great relationship now with his talent manager, Rob, and in that moment picks up the phone and calls Rob to say, Rob, unfortunately I'm not going to be able to work for the next couple of weeks. Now, it's the weekend. Rob's actually off to meet his girlfriend for the evening. He has the talent portal on his app. He's able to click the next best candidate button, and all of that incredible data that he has is surfaced up. It shows all the people that are possible, but Susan is the next available person. So she's actually just finished a temping role. She's obviously got great Adecco score, and she's had this fantastic survey score. So he just contacts her, gives her a quick ring, and she's delighted. She accepts the role, and she's able to fill that short period of time where Daniel is unable to fulfill his role. So that's a story. Just want to capture at the end just how much data we've been able to capture on these three individuals. And remember that this is focusing on these three individuals. There are many more interactions with many more candidates across that. Obviously, there's a massive more weight on Daniel. He's the one that's been chosen. But this 360 view of each individual candidate is critical to be able to build the best relationship with all of them going forwards. Thank you so much. That is the end of the journey. I hope we've been able to demonstrate how candidate, client, and employee relationships can be reimagined. Hope that was good. For the record, that was an 11-minute presentation. So that was going some. There's room to obviously slow that down if necessary. If you use the actual talk track, it's around a 20-minute presentation. Very conscious that there's a 15-minute window for this particular experience. Cool. Hope you enjoyed it, and that's all for me. Thank you.